Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Moments. Today, we are not here to watch Are You Sure? As light entertainment. We are here to examine it, slowly, honestly, and without looking away. Because the longer this show is discussed, the harder it becomes to avoid one simple conclusion. Something was deliberately stopped. Silences that last too long to be coincidence. Cuts that arrive too quickly. Music that appears at the exact moment a conversation starts to feel too real. This is not ordinary editing. It isn't merely a technical choice or a matter of pacing. It feels like a boundary, an invisible line drawn with full awareness. A quiet signal that says, this is as far as you're allowed to see. And yet, despite all those boundaries, one truth keeps slipping through, impossible to fully contain. Jimin and Jungkook are not building closeness. They are already inside it. They are comfortable, in sync, in a way that was never designed for the camera. And maybe, that's exactly what makes people uneasy. The more Are You Sure? Is talked about hour after hour, layer after layer, the clearer it becomes that this show was never meant to be taken lightly. Something always lingers in the air. Silences that feel intentional. Editing choices that feel too aware of themselves. Moments where the cut almost whispers, gently but firmly, stop here. Don't go further. Because nothing surrounding this show has ever been neutral. Not casual. Not meaningless. From the very beginning, there has been a sense that something is being held back. That the raw footage was heavier, more intimate, more honest than what ultimately reached the screen. Conversations that begin warmly and then end without warning. Transitions that arrive too fast. Music that enters not to enhance emotion, but to redirect it. Not because the moment lacked interest, but because it became too clear. And ironically, even with all those efforts, what remains is already enough. Enough to reveal one undeniable truth. Jimin and Jungkook are at a very specific point in their relationship. They are not stiff. Not awkward. Not cautious around each other. They move with the ease of two people who have already crossed something significant together. Something formative. Something that no longer needs explanation. They are calmer with each other. Safer. Freer. As if they are not performing intimacy, but simply living inside it. And that is where the discomfort begins. Because when they came out of the military, they did not emerge the way many people expected. There was no dramatic distance. No narrative of separate paths. Instead, the opposite happened. They came out aligned, in sync, with a closeness that felt even more real than before, more relaxed, more natural, more unguarded. They touch without hesitation, find each other with their eyes without fear, speak with a familiarity that requires no translation. And it was precisely at that moment that rumors began to intensify. As if that chemistry was disturbing. As if that connection was too honest to be allowed to stand on its own. As if it needed to be explained away by any narrative available, as long as it wasn't the most obvious one. But this didn't begin after the military. And that matters. That closeness was forged inside, in a rigid, exhausting environment far removed from fantasy. 2 years in the same base. The same routines. The same pressures. Long days of physical fatigue and emotional strain that couldn't be hidden or curated. And when those days ended, they didn't return to separate worlds. They returned to the same space. The same place of rest. An intimacy formed not through staged moments, but through survival. Through presence. Through endurance. This isn't speculation. They said it themselves. Simply, clearly, without drama. They shared a room. They saw each other every day. They were grateful to have one another. They acknowledged that each other's presence was a source of support during one of the hardest phases of their lives. No hidden codes. No manufactured mystery. Just plain truth. And still, there remains an almost obsessive need to deny that bond. Claims that Jungkook is uncomfortable. That Jimin is too dependent. That togetherness is a burden. That Jungkook is merely enduring. These narratives repeat endlessly, ignoring the most basic evidence of all, what they themselves show. Because once someone decides what they want to believe, reality becomes an inconvenience. When they were finally discharged, some didn't just comment, they celebrated. As if distance had finally arrived. As if Jungkook had been freed. Stories circulated that he had been forced to enlist alongside Jimin, and that now he could finally escape. That narrative collapsed quickly. 4 days after discharge, they began filming Are You Sure? Season 2. For days. Not months. Not after everything settled. After one of the hardest chapters of their lives, they chose, again, to spend time together. To travel. To share experiences. On camera. So another narrative appeared. That Jungkook was forced to film. That the company pressured him. That Jimin manipulated the situation. Different versions, same goal. Erasing one simple fact. Jungkook looked like he wanted to be there. Present. Engaged. Proactive. And even that collapsed, because Jungkook himself said the idea came from him. He conceived the concept. He wanted to surprise Jimin. He spoke about future seasons, new locations, continuations. Not obligation, desire. Still, it wasn't enough. Then came the most peculiar pattern of all, dating rumors. Not random gossip, but a neat sequence. Carefully timed. Each rumor coinciding with visible distance. When one appeared, the other vanished. When one was seen publicly, the other was suddenly absent. But nothing suggested they had stopped meeting. Only that visibility was being managed. The illusion held, until they appeared in spaces that couldn't be fully controlled. Group live broadcasts. And everything unraveled. They couldn't avoid each other. Not because they didn't want to, but because they simply didn't know how. Eyes that find each other automatically. Laughter without prompting. Physical closeness that isn't negotiated or staged. These things can't be trained. Can't be scripted. And don't disappear because someone invents a narrative. That's where the so-called separation reveals itself for what it is. A construct. A surface-level story. An attempt to manufacture distance where none truly exists. Because when control loosens, nothing changes. Or rather, everything becomes clearer. More relaxed. More natural. More honest. As if nothing ever needed to be hidden. And perhaps that is what truly unsettles people. Not their closeness, but the fact that this bond does not break. Not with time. Not with rumors. Not with carefully edited distance. There are bonds that do not cool. Do not dissolve in noise. And do not bow to convenient stories. And Are You Sure? Didn't fail to hide anything. Between shortened cuts and withheld moments, it revealed exactly what couldn't be erased. A bond. One that doesn't collapse under pressure, doesn't waver under speculation, and doesn't disappear when cameras turn away. Because when control loosens, when editing can no longer fully rule, everything becomes visible again. Those looks, those gestures, that connection, consistent. And maybe that's the answer. Not in what is hidden, but in what continues to endure, no matter how hard people try to deny it. That's where we'll end today's discussion. If you see the same things, or notice another layer we haven't touched, share your thoughts in the comments. And as always, we'll meet again at Jikook Moments.